Welcome to Scorched Earth and the general reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of September. I hope you are well. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot for you today. Here it is. So let's get it straight on and see what's going on with you. Could I have 3 cards, please, for Aquarius, an Aquarius? We've got the 5 of Wands in your recent past. Current energy for 10 of Wands. And what is coming towards Aquarius, please? Good Lord. Right. Where did that go? Down there. Oh. Crikey. We have the Queen of Swords. And we have the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It's funny, when I did the meditation before I started this reading, it was very intense, and although there wasn't anything specific that came through, I did feel like there was somewhat of a spiritual awakening going on with you at the moment. As things are being triggered and pushed to some sort of crescendo for a point. I mean, it's not just happening to punish you. I'm using the Tarot of the Abyss to clarify. Although it might feel like that. It feels like it's pushing towards change. We have... well, I'll not get into it too deeply now, but you know, we have the 5 of Wands leaping right up to the 10 of Wands, right? That is something quite uncomfortable in there, but we have clarity coming with the Queen of Swords. And then with this, interesting, we've got the 10 of Swords and we've got the Ace of Pentacles on top there. We have completion being indicated all over, and the possibility of change arriving. Once you see things clearly, and you might not currently, I think it's almost certain that you don't see things clearly at the moment. So let's get some clarifiers. Tell me about this 5 of Wands here. We have the King of Swords. There you are. Very much speaking to your conflict. And we have the Fool. I'm throwing my cards around. There we go. King of Swords and the Fool. King of Swords is the Aquarius card. The Fool is Aries. Tell me about the 10 of Wands, please. We have the 6 of Wands. And we have the Devil. Tell me about the Queen of Swords, please. Thank you. We have the 7 of Wands. And we have the Tower. Well, I told you that this was all about change, and I do feel that initial... Fuck me. Sorry. Just dropping F-bombs everywhere. There's the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of that deck as well. So, you know, the takeaway from this, if you watch no further than beyond this point, is that things are going to be very, very intense. Perhaps they're quite intense now. They're going to get more intense to get you to a point where you go, this all needs to change. Something different needs to happen, right? This period that you're in now seems to be setting the stage. And as we often know, you know, times of great change are often preceded by times of great discomfort, simply because we are creatures of habit. You know, we like to sit in places that we know, that we're familiar with. You know, the comfort zone is a very real and present thing. And the only time that we really seek to push out of that comfort zone is when staying where we are is too uncomfortable. And this can be, you know, with friends and family, within relationships, you know, perhaps your job, something like that. It'll be different for each of you. But it could be about a mindset that you've been holding for a little while. And I think that's true for some of you too. But we'll get into that. Because... as I said, in your recent past, we've got here this 5 of Wands. Now, it's a Leo card. We've got a couple of Leo cards, actually, and it speaks to conflict. Generally, it speaks to a kind of strife, and this can be with other people. This can be, you know, finding it difficult to express ourselves in a way that other people can understand. Difficulties with other people understanding what we're trying to say, jumping to conclusions, or, you know, assuming you meant one thing when actually you meant another. I mean, I would hope we're not at full fisticuffs. The Devil is very, very close. It's not together though, so that's fine. But it can speak to a kind of internal conflict as well. And I honestly feel like both are probably true. there's quite a restricted feeling in my chest right now as I'm looking at that card, that's making me feel like there is some sort of pent-up something that is coming up to the surface. And with our external world being a reflection of our internal world, it could well be that you are finding yourself in conflict with other people. And what you find yourself particularly in conflict with is this sense of wanting to start again, wanting to be free from something. There's a really strong sense of wanting to be liberated from something that you are currently enmeshed with. And is the issue that you're not quite sure the way forwards? I don't think so, because you're presenting there as the King of Swords. There's something very authentic that's going on within you here, and it wants to be free. It wants to liberate itself from some sort of situation. It wants to move on. It wants to start anew. But there is conflict there. So perhaps it's an issue of trust of yourself. I feel that a little less as I'm saying it. Perhaps it could just be an issue of resources. I mean, we've got 2 aces of pentacles here, but there are no pentacles anywhere else on the table. You know, perhaps it is a material concern that's stopping you moving forwards. Let's just pull another card and have a look. Oof. Give these a shuffle. I don't usually pull extra cards once I've got all the clarifiers out, but sometimes I feel like it warrants it, and you know, I just break my rules whenever I like. So let me out this full. We've got the King of Cups. We've got the 2 of Swords. Yeah, 9 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So it could well be an issue of material resources and an urge, some sort of feeling that is pulling you in a direction. It's something that might not have. Oh, we've come across this theme quite a lot this month. There've been at least a third of the signs where there've been really intuitive or emotional pulls in a particular direction, and literally no evidential basis for the decisions that they're choosing to make at this time, or being called to make, you know. And if you look for the evidence, you end up getting stuck in this kind of this stasis here, because the issue is an emotional one. We see that by way of the fact that this woman has a blindfold over her eyes, and she's got her back literally to the moon, which is indicative of intuition and our, you know, connection to our own internal desires and wants. And there's the water there, it's emotion. She also has her back to that. Let me have a look at that card there. See? And she's trying to keep everything very intellectual. She's trying to keep everything very reasonable and rational. And actually, what is at the root of all of this is something feeling perhaps approaching primal. And there's a great desire for activity. And yet there seems to be none at the moment. Like, what's holding you back at this point? I think it might possibly be, yes, we have the 9 of Pentacles with the 5 of Pentacles underneath it, right? Are you not quite sure of your material position? Is there somewhat of a risk involved in what it is that you're planning to do at this point? Possibly. You know, do you have enough Pentacles? Maybe. Are you risking them? Possibly. You know, the 5 of Pentacles is lack, it's poverty, or it is a fear of those things. But the energy of the 9 of Pentacles is very self-assured, it's very independent. Maybe there are some energy leaks that you need to plug before you can do what you need to do, because 9 of Pentacles is all about good resource management. Maybe there's something about this situation that is triggering you slightly, because it's reminding you of something, of a similar situation that you've experienced in the past, where perhaps there was a loss, perhaps poverty did come through. And it doesn't have to be material. I see the Pentacles as energetic currency, so this can be something that cost you a lot in time and effort. Maybe it cost you a lot in emotion, you know? When we move into your current energy, we've got that 10 of Wands, and it really does feel like things are coming up to some sort of boiling point with you. We've got the 6 of Wands, and we've got the Devil here. And it's just, the image of the wands spread out at the back of the card, in the Six of Wands there, is at complete odds with the way that this devil is bound up underneath. And looking at the 10 wands, the way that they're all kind of clustered together, and they're kind of trying to be free at the top, but there's a bottleneck here. And the devil is Capricorn energy, and it's not all bad, but certainly it speaks to a feeling of absolute restriction that you are experiencing at the moment. Maybe this is the universe just kind of stepping on your throat just a little bit and saying like, well, what are you going to do, Aquarius? How much do you want to win? How much do you want to succeed? How much do you want whatever this is? You know, whether it is just a bit of freedom, whether it is the ability to be able to start again. Because this 10 of Wands is kind of pushing you towards crunch point. It's like, how uncomfortable do you need to be before you choose a route of success and turn away from the devil and everything that the devil represents here. Oh, the devil. We've got the Fool. You know, the mistrust, trust, trapped and restricted, liberated. You know, it seems like whatever you want, it's really very close within reach. I mean, we've got the World card at the bottom of the deck there. Wonderful. It feels like it needs one last push from you. And that one last push, it feels, probably requires you to face something that you don't really want to look at. I mean, that's what the devil is, often what the devil represents. So it seems like you need to get through the devil. You need to get through the 10 of Wands, beg your pardon. Look at things a different way before you can achieve. There's a lot of fiery energy here this month for you, Aquarius. And that's not a bad thing. It was fire and air, very complementary elements. You've got the Fool here twice. You got, you know, the World card as it was there a second ago, which, you know, has the 4 fixed signs on it. You're one of them, but also Leo is another. You've got the 10 of Wands, the Sagittarius card, 6 of Wands, Leo card, the Fool. It's like there's lots of action happening internally here. There's lots of activity going on internally. There's lots of toing and froing, and that's where this sense of conflict comes in. But the external expression of that is just increased frustration. You might even find that you're pretty bad-tempered at the moment. It's just like every fuse is very, very short, where normally you don't really give enough of a fuck to be, you know, bothered by people in the way that you seem to be being at the moment. And like I said, the important thing to... Yeah, well, I'm going to take that as confirmation, right? It's all pushing you towards a state of completion. Things need to be tied up, right? We're seeing that we've got these cards of endings everywhere. The World, the 10 of Wands, the 10 of Wands, the 10 of Swords here, even the Tower. But there's a push that needs to happen, and maybe you need to trust yourself on this push. Maybe you just need to look at things a different way, you know? Certainly with this Knight of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, as I now see that there is, it's about not needing to rush it, but actually working out what is most important to you, Aquarius, and then doing something about it. That whatever is trapping and restricting you at this point, you know, the devil says you are consenting to feel like that. Now with that Hanged Man that was at the bottom of the deck, it's a change in perspective that is required here. This is not something that you usually have a problem with, so I wonder if it's just because you're very, very close to whatever it is, and if it's an internal thing, if we've got this sense of a mindset shift being the thing that needs to occur before you go any further, then that would explain why you're having this difficulty at this point. But we do have things picking up with the Queen of Swords. You see her there. It's Libra energy, but I love the way, actually, in this card, she seems to be depicted as as above a cloud. You know, we've got the mist around her feet here. And she's sitting very straight backed and obviously beckoning something like we usually see with this Queen of Swords. But it seems to me that what you've done somewhere along the line is kind of thought yourself into a hole, Aquarius. And putting the wands down, you know, are you stretched a little bit too thin at the moment? That's possible. But like, are you making things difficult for yourself? That's something that needs a bit of a thought, because sometimes with the Ten of Wands, the message is you're doing it the hard way. Like, there is a better way of doing things. And if there is a better way of doing things, then it is the Queen of Swords who helps you achieve that, right? She's very clear thinking. She's not at this point making judgments about things, because that would be the realm of the King of Swords. But she is working her way through all of the information to work out what is important. You know, that same message is being repeated here, working out what is important and what is not. You know, this Seven of Wands here, it's interesting because we've got the 5, we've got the 6, and we've got the 7 here. So we've got some degree of progress along the suit going on, and that's important because, you know, we've got the 10 of Wands there. Kind of working out why everything is so hard, working out why, how it could be that you've made things difficult for yourself. But also what you're trying to defend yourself against. This is why I feel like it's quite an internal shift that needs to occur here. There's something that you're trying to defend yourself against, and you don't seem to know what it is. Or if you do, it involves facing something that you haven't been hitherto comfortable in addressing. Tell me about this Seven of Wands. We've got the Six of Pentacles, speaking to a need to kind of have a more balanced approach. And we have the Death card. Another card of endings, another card of change, transformation. Now, the fact that this Six of Pentacles, beg your pardon, preceded this card makes me think that things are well out of balance with you. I mean, just looking at the 5 of Wands and the 10 of Wands is probably sufficient to be able to come to that conclusion, to be honest. But the 6 of Pentacles is asking you to have some mindfulness, use that energy of the Queen of Swords about what is out of balance in your life. And I see this happening for you in the month of September anyway, with the view to change. Now, Death and the Tower are 2 very, very strong cards of actually quite sudden change coming in. And it feels like it's the point where you realise that you're standing in your own way. That can be a huge thing. I had a similar thing at the beginning of this year, where I realised that I won't bore you with the story now, but I realised I was absolutely the only thing that was standing in my own way. And I was shocked to notice it, because I thought that I needed to focus on one very particular thing. That was very important. I had to focus on that. And in the end, I kind of threw all the chips up in the air and went, fuck it, let's just see where they land, shall we? In the meantime, I'm going to get on with living my life. And it was such a profound mindset shift. I have to tell you, within a week, things started turning around. Things certainly started speeding up, and that restriction that I felt so hard for a year up until that point actually shifted very, very quickly. Tell me about this tower. I'm just really nosy. We've got the Emperor and we've got the World. They actually came out in that order, the World and the Emperor. It's time to get your shit together, Aquarius, is the long and short of this, because the time for change is nigh. It's right here. You know, the World card is your card in as much as it belongs to all of the fixed signs, right? It's a card of completion. It's a card of leveling up. Is there a spiritual awakening involved in this? Absolutely. I think any point where we find ourselves getting some sort of tremendous insight into ourselves and how we've held ourselves back, I do think that is a spiritual awakening. But it's here with the Emperor. It's time to start taking charge of shit. You've got things to do. Ace of Pentacles twice. Page of Pentacles. this is very, very new energy in both of these. And with the aces, it's pure potential. Like whatever you want, you can create. But the page is taking something that you already have and taking it in a different direction. So, I mean, as this applies, it could go any way. I could see this working for work, relationships, just a complete mindset change at all around perhaps the idea of money and material things. I can see it being the possibility of, starting a new business or anything along those lines is being indicated here for you. But the important thing is that you don't keep doing the same thing. And sometimes we keep doing the same thing even if we're doing something different every day because we're bringing the same mindset to it, right? There's a wholesale, complete turnaround of your insides, which will be very, very swiftly reflected on your outside. So the question is, what do you want? And how are you stopping yourself from getting it? This is interesting, Aquarius. I like this very much. So I'm going to go over to Vimeo. And we're going to dig into September a little bit deeper and see what's going on there, see what you need to know. If you would like to join me there, you're very welcome to do so. The link is down in the description box, as ever. Just as an aside, if I ever do forget to put the link in there, it's actually, the link is taking you to the Vimeo page that has all the signs on, so you can check different signs for the same time period, and the link would take you there. Alternatively, you could come and join my Patreon community if you would like to do so. The link for that is also in the description. But if not, just take a more circumspect look at what is going on with you at the moment, Aquarius, and remember, we're only pushed to change things when where we are doesn't suit anymore, and where you are doesn't suit you anymore. There are new things waiting for you. But they're not going to happen by themselves. It requires one last push from you to get there. And it feels like all of the pennies are dropping at once. Whew, right. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. I really hope that this helped. Know that I love you all very, very much. And I will see you soon.